I'm often asked, how do you find guests for Talking True? And my response is, well, that depends. Sometimes people reach out and ask if they can come on the show. At other times, I come across channels on YouTube that I really enjoy, and then I will reach out to the host or hosts and I'll invite them on. And that is what happened with respect to my next guests, Collette and Mark Dennis. I came across their channel, Knew You Today, and I really loved the episodes because I love their style. The way they interact and share is really informal, it's fun, it's lively, and it's deeply authentic. And so I'm looking forward to diving into a conversation with them for this episode. And I'm here to welcome them. So let's dive into this episode and have some fun. Mark and Collette, welcome to Talking True. It's great to have you joining me today.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to meet you.
Great to be here.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, it is. So we've just decided to dive into the flow of the conversation, see where it takes us, right? And just go with it. But certainly one of the things that was coming up for me today, because of the people that I work with, is the places where people often get stuck with respect to either listening to their own intuition or trusting what they're hearing and feeling inside. And I wondered if you had anything that you could share around that, or any pointers that you could give to folks.
You want to start it?
No, you can start.
Well, firstly, it is beginning to trust yourself, your own, and you've done it all your life, but you've just not realised that there's that inner knowing. And it doesn't come with excitement. It doesn't come with loud voice. It's the quiet, subtle energy, but it's like a loving energy. And it's to trust that above anything else is just a trust. And it's always been there. There's nothing to do to get to this place that we're here in. Like people say, tell me what we can start doing. But first of all, it's just the knowing that there's nothing to do. You are that awareness. You are that inner wisdom, and you always have been. But it's just that you've overlooked that, because it's so subtle and it's always been there. It's so ordinary that when you see that you are that awareness, you just go, duh. Really?
I know.
It's like, how did I miss that?
Yes.
So we point people, first of all, to just get quiet, forget everything else you've ever learned, ever, about where to look and gurus and even us, but we point them to them. It's not what we do. It's going back towards inwards to their own inner wisdom. It's always been there. They can try the hardest to push it away, but it's who they are. They can never not be it.
I think as well is, first of all, you need to know what you're looking for, because so many people are looking for this. Because I know when I was watching a guy called Sid Banks. It's the Three Principles, and this, he was telling his story about this epiphany he had, and he saw this white light, and then he became enlightened. And the trouble is, when you see things like that, then a lot of people are looking for that, and that isn't it. So they have this sort of story that's going on, that enlightenment, and I'm going to have this experience. And you can have experiences, you can have enlightenment, but that's not what we're talking about. It's so simple and so subtle that we miss it, because it's always been there. It's been there since day one.
So we are.
Yeah, and it's great getting people to look. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're never going to find it. And if you're looking for something completely different, then when you do see it, you won't think that's it.
Yes.
Yes. So it's really firstly knowing that you're not the character that you've always been. You've been told you are from day one. you're a girl, you like this, you're shy, you're this, you're that, whatever it is, you are not that, never have been. You what's before that.
Yeah.
And then we try and let that settle for a minute or two. It usually goes a bit quiet because they can't think it isn't that simple. But once they see it, it is just a really it's one of them. It's not a ta-da and oh my god moment, and
no, because
it's subtle.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
So it's just pointing people back to who they really are.
So if they get stuck, it is pointing them that they're stuck within the character. Yes. And that's where they're feeling the problems, because it's the character they're believing in that has the set of problems. But once they see they're not the character, there's no problem either. The problems just go along with the character. And that's if an actor plays a character, once they stop playing that character, all the character flaws of the character they're playing go. Once they say cut, that's it. That character's gone. So once we point people, you're not the character, just look and see for yourself. And the first time I saw that, I always thought I was shy, like really shy. If anyone had said this at school, that I'd be talking to people, going in rooms full of people talking, I'd be like, no, that's not me. Because I believe that the character was shy because that's what I got told. But then we had a meet-up with people from school, girls from school. There was about 10 of us. And we got on the conversation, who was the confident, who was the loudest, who was this? And I said, oh, well, I was really shy. And they all looked at me as though I was mad. I went, you're joking now, are you? You were the loudest person in the class. And I couldn't believe it, because you put the filters on, so everything that doesn't agree with you are shy, you don't see. And like my friend said, my mum and dad got divorced and my mum got married to someone else, changed her name, and I just started high school. And in England, you get put with all different schools, so you don't really know anyone in that form class. And they read my name out, but with me dad's surname, and my mum wanted to have the same surname as her. So they read the old one out, and I stood up in a class of 40 children who I didn't know and said, excuse me, but that's not my name. And I forgot that, because I filtered that out, because that didn't agree with shy character Collette. So I filtered it out. She said, do you not remember that? And when she said it, I went, I do.
Well, isn't it funny as well that they all thought we were shy and no one...
Oh, yeah, on the table. They'd all made character up that, no, we were all this shy. But I could see that was the moment I started to see that, yeah, this character's made up. And you can make any character you want up and have fun with it, while knowing you're not that. Like the actor knows any character he plays, he isn't that. He goes home at the end of the day, he's Joe Bloggs, and that's it.
Yes. So
we go home at the end of the day knowing with this awareness, which we call, but it doesn't really have a name.
You can't put a name to it. Because as soon as you put a name to it, you make it limited, and it's formless. And then you're trying to use form to name it. So, and every time you do put a name to it, everyone has a different connotation of that name. So they see it through looking at through their lens. And
it's to say, when people say they get stuck, they will have that experience of stuckness, because it's like an order. It's like, as soon as you say, I'm this, I'm that, then you experience this and that. It's like we did, I don't know if we did a video about this, but we were helping my daughter move in a house, and there was a flat pack to do. I don't do anything like that. The character Collette does not do flat packs. She can't follow the instructions or anything. And I sat there, I'd volunteered myself to do it. And I thought, but I can't do this because I'm unlimited. This is easy. So I did a flat pack within a couple of hours with fun and easily, because we are this unlimited, and we just put limitations. I can't do this, I can't do that. But when you say, oh, I'm not that character, oh yeah, I'm unlimited, you do a flat pack or anything else.
Well, it's good to know, though, that when the mind says you can't do that, or all these negative, that's it's the opposite of that. So when I have a really negative thought that comes in, I think, oh, okay, that's the mind. So I'm the opposite of that. That gives you a lot of freedom and a lot of power.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great strategy, actually, to think the opposite when a negative thought comes in or a limiting thought comes in. But I'd love to just unpack a little bit, everything you've been saying, because there's great value there. I mean, I really loved, Mark, what you said about not knowing, I forget how you phrase it, but when you don't know what you're looking for, essentially, then it becomes really difficult. I think there's a line in Alice in Wonderland that says something like, if you don't know what you're looking for, any road will take you there.
Yeah.
And I think that is just so accurate with respect to the whole kind of seeking game, the whole kind of seeking for enlightenment and all of that. Because what happens is, and I know that was true for me, I was reading everything that I could get my hands on and watching everything that I could get my hands on. And of course, authentic teachers, when they tell their story about awakening, or seeing through the illusion, or however you want to put it, they all have their own take on it. And so what often happens is there can be a tendency to try and model yourself in a way to kind of create the same sort of scenario, in the hope that it will happen to you. Without realizing that, of course, all of that is just a story, and that you're already awake, and it's just so flipping obvious and so apparent and readily available. It's overlooked, and as you said, it's so simple. Collette, I think you said that too. That it's so simple. We don't believe it because we're used to making everything complex because of the mind. The mind loves complexity. The heart knows simplicity and truth, but the mind loves to just continually complicate everything. But all of that said, with respect to those things, I would love, and I know viewers are kind of interested in finding out what was it, which pointing, which statement, which sentence, or whatever it was that helped you both see through the illusion and suddenly recognize what is here.
So that's that. Yeah. But from being very young, one of my first memories was, I think it's before I'd actually identified myself as Mark, that I just had this, there was, and not in a big-headed way, it was just that there was nothing I needed to know because I knew it all. So it was just a knowing that I knew everything. And that has always sort of stayed with me, that feeling. And then there's just, and then you forget it, don't you? And you just go on with life. But that little bit that right from the start, I've always remembered that there was nothing to know. There was nothing to do. You're it, and then you forget it. And then, but it's cropped up in my life, that little times, that moment, because you can remember, you can go straight back to that. So it's never left you, but you just forget it, and you carry on with life. And then I've had a few, I wouldn't say mystical things, but things that have just in life that I've looked back on. One of the big things was a couple of years ago. I remember I'd gone to push my dad in the pool, swimming pool. I couldn't swim, so just a joke. And he stepped out of the way, and I fell in, and I went in the deep end. And it was only looking back on that later that I realised that when I was in that pool and I was drowning, and there was all this panic and fear, and there was something behind that was just at ease, and was just the witness to it, and that was fine. And then when I remembered that again, that was it, really. That it was just that was always been there, and it was what I was remembering when I was first very small.
Beautiful. Yes. And and I'm pretty sure everybody has moments.
They all will, because they all do. Yeah, everyone does. Yeah.
You do forget, because it's so alluring, what you're told that this character does, that you forget the moments. I've had like quite a lot of them, but I'd say once I started watching David Bingham's videos, I knew about thought that comes and goes, and you're not your thinking and things like that, and then that you make stories up that you believe. But I always thought it was a character. I always thought it was Collette. I never even questioned that until I started listening to David Bingham, and then it just kind of, I just saw it, and I wasn't even looking. I was just watching his videos and thinking, all right, we're not this character. And then I was just sat in the garden looking at the clouds going by, and in that moment, this seagull flew across the sky, and it was like I was the sky, and it flew across me, and I just felt. I mean, this is just pointing towards it, and it's still in the words, it isn't what it was. I was everything in that moment. I was everything, but I knew I always was that everything. And it was just like, it was like a second of clarity, complete clarity of knowing that I was all this consciousness, and was it all, and always had been. And I was sat in the chair, and I was in the sky, and it's, people kind of get confused because it wasn't like my body was up there, a spirit was up there, was down there. I was just it all. It was just it all, and that's the words I'm trying to use to point to it. And then I saw clearly, yeah, you're not the character, and never was. This is what you always have been and always will be.
But I've always searched. I was a searcher.
Yeah, I know.
And Collette was never bothered about that. And Colette's seen loads of things effortlessly.
Yeah.
But I've had to search for it, and I find things, and I say, "Oh, what's this?" Then she goes, "Oh yeah, I know that." So, and it's really, it's like David Bingham says, like, effortlessly. You never try and do anything.
No.
Like, I remember that years ago when you said, you just said to yourself, "Wonder what it's like to have everything," and then you had a full day of bliss.
Yeah, yeah.
And you didn't want to tell me because she thought
I'd
spoil it. I'd lose it. She told me.
But that was before I saw I wasn't the character. So it's like different things happened. And then with that day, I just saw like everything, all the pointers that I'd seen, but I hadn't seen. It's kind of, you see it, but you kind of, you don't take it on board, sort of thing.
But the thing is that if anyone, people are listening now, then they don't need to think, oh, well,
yeah,
I want
look at
that.
the clouds.
I need to do that now because I'm not going to see anything because I haven't thought, oh yeah, I'm the same as that bird and I've seen it all. No. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So it's very, when you're telling a story, the only trouble is that the people think, oh well, I've not seen it now because I've not had that experience, and all those, their experiences, but they're not who you really are. Who you really are is just here now, and it's just.
Yeah,
it's
just
you.
in that moment, I just saw that. It wasn't a big lights on or big bang or anything. It was just, I was quiet, I was relaxed, as you are when you're looking at the clouds, making pictures. You just relax. And in that relaxation, I just went, oh, that's it. Then it's so obvious. But it's not saying to people, look at the clouds, that's where it is.
Yeah.
It was just, that's when I was relaxed. And then we spoke to other people where they've been the opposite of relaxed. They've been in turmoil, and then they've just seen who they really are. But again, it's not been a big lights on. It's just, oh, how did I miss that?
It's just that, it's just when the mind quiets down.
Yeah.
And then you sort of see through the illusion. But then even that doesn't have to happen because
like I said, that person we spoke to, they were in anger, really.
Yeah, in anger, and then saw through it. Yeah. So it's different for every single person, but every person is already that.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds, everyone's, because I've heard that before, but because it used to annoy me when people say, oh yeah, you're already that. And then, but I'm saying, well, yeah, but I'm not, because I'm not like you. I'm not seeing it like you are. But that's the trouble, is that we all hear things and then we think, oh, right, so I've not had that experience. So it's just pointing people to what it is. If you know what it is, then, like I say, you can see it. If you don't know what it is, how can you see it?
Yes. Yeah. You have to have some idea of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Which isn't clothed in somebody else's story.
No, that's it. Yeah.
that you're trying to emulate. I mean, one of the things, you know, I've over the last 3 or 4 years, I've given, I don't know, 100 and some interviews and stuff on different blogs and YouTube channels, and I've written my books about my awakening. You know, I had a radical awakening via a lucid dream, and always been privy to a lot of psychic phenomenon, you know, the out-of-body experiences and all kinds of different things, you know. And one of the downsides of that is that people have kind of questioned their own ability to be able to attain, let's say, realization, self-realization, or, you know, which is really just recognizing your own authentic nature. But they tend to stack their experiences up against what I've shared. And I try very hard to say, look, it's not about that. Maybe I was just particularly dense and I needed a lot of like psychic phenomenon to shake me up or something. But, you know, it might be that you have, you know, none of those things, you know, at all. And then, you know, just looking up at the sky or you know, watching a dog play or a cat play or something will you know, push you or kind of point you into the recognition that you're not your story, because that's really all it is. Yeah. It's seeing through the story and realizing that there's something prior to the story that's always here and just never comes and goes, and it never diminishes in any way, no matter what's going on, whether you're feeling crappy or feeling great or whatever the story is. And it's just so simple. And so
yeah, and there's nothing to do to attain it, because it's what you are. You're that joy, you're that love. There's nothing to attain to do anything. It's just so simple. Even the words complicate it.
Yes,
it's
yes,
simpler than what we're speaking about. But I think what helps when we have one-to-ones with people and we listen to where they're at, you can feel, and when we talk to them, they can feel and know that we're looking at them, that they're whole and complete, and they are that awareness. And they've said to us, haven't they, that they've felt that look, we're looking at them in that way, and they feel, because we're not separate, and they feel that, maybe because it's the first time someone's looked at them as though they're not broken and that there's something to fix. We know that there isn't. Yes. There's nothing there for them to do, because they're it, and they're full and whole and complete now. That's it.
I think though, when people go on that thing of searching, then if they're determined enough, everyone that searches will eventually see it, because what you're looking for is looking for you. So you know, it's one of those things that it becomes, nothing else matters. When you're on that search, that all that matters is that you want to be self-realized, or you want this enlightenment, because it takes over everything, and that's an awareness of becoming aware of itself. So once you're into that, you're going to see it,
and that's why they laugh, because they've always been it.
Yes,
I know.
It's funny,
but they've looked outside for it. That's the thing.
There's jokes about that.
Yes. And you know, I'd love to talk a little bit about what you offer in terms of the pointings and helping people who reach out to you. I'm assuming you do it in person as well as online, correct?
Yeah. We've done group talkings as well, where people have asked us to go to drug rehabilitation and addictions, even though you don't need to know anything about that. It's just pointing with our stories, things that we've seen ourselves. Like one of the first things where I saw that your thoughts make stories up was in a dentist chair. Because I hadn't been to the dentist for 20 years, because I believe the thoughts that he was a torturer, this dentist. He tortures people. And in the dentist chair, I was saying, this is just me thinking. So this is before I saw I wasn't the character. But I'd heard about you thinking and thoughts, and you don't have to believe your thoughts. And this is what I was saying while shaking in the dentist chair, telling the dentist every time I put my hand up, you must stop, because you've got everything in your mouth. And then when it had all finished with, and he said, I have to go back next week for the other side, I was spitting out, shaking and crying, saying stupid, thinking it's not me thinking, it's real. But in that moment, it's like, I saw the story I'd made up. the torturer. And that's why I was scared. That's why I was shaking, because I was believing the story the mind had made up. I wasn't living in the dentist chair of the dentist putting me out of pain. I wasn't in that. I was in the story of the torture. But in that moment, then I started laughing in the dentist chair. And he said, "Oh, well, you have to come back next week." I said, "Oh, that's fine. I've no problem with that." So he must have thought she's lost the plot.
She's
and
crazy.
I went back the next week, and I wasn't one bit scared, because I knew in that second I'll never be scared again, because I never was scared. It was the story. And this is what we share in groups, our own stories of pointing from the dentist to
you can only tell your own truth.
Yeah, and that was my truth, where I first saw about you thinking, and then those thoughts make up a story that you believe, and you're not actually, like most people who aren't scared of the dentist, they know they're putting out pain. But a lot of people who are scared of anything are in a story they've made up.
Yeah, I think as well.
That was a big thing that I saw. I know if I hear someone, I know whether they're coming from truth or they're coming from hearsay. And there's a lot of people out there that are coming from hearsay, that they've heard all the stories and they can say it all and they've got it to a T, but they don't know it. They can say what someone else, and they talk about someone else's experience and stuff like that. And I always, if you tell your truth, it doesn't matter what anyone says, they can't knock you down, because it's your truth and you know it's true. Yeah. So and people can tell when you're coming from truth. Yeah.
And they just know it because it's their truth too.
Yes, and you can feel it. I mean, I always say I can feel it within, a millisecond. you know, there's a resonance that is there that is unmistakable, especially with people that present as having seen through the illusion. I don't even want to say teachers of non-duality or whatever. Let's just say people who present as seeing through the illusion. And the thing that I found really disturbing is the number of, let's say, non-duality teachers or awake teachers or whatever you want to call it, who are promoting courses or programs or sessions or whatever at a really high price point, and offering students ridiculous things. And often there's layers. There's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And and I'm speaking from my own direct experience with respect to people that have come to me after having paid $3,000 or $4,000 or £5,000 or dollars to teachers that promise them enlightenment within a period of time, and then they come away empty-handed, empty-pocketed in terms of what they paid. But
they've took them in the wrong direction. They're already enlightened. We're all enlightened.
Exactly. And it doesn't cost anything to see that. I mean, obviously, I think it's important to have an exchange if you are offering your time to somebody.
Well, that's it. It's the time they're paying for, not the knowledge, not the pointing.
Because our friend, she said that she's a healer, and she was charged for something, and someone said to her, "Well, that's a lot of money for healing," and said, "Oh, no, the healing's free. It's just the time." And it wasn't extortion anyway. It was just, it's the time. It's my time. You're paying for the time, but the healing's free.
Yes. But look at that. But what I was going to say was, though, all of that is absolutely fine and great. But it's when people present as being enlightened and they're clearly not, because you can tell from the energy and they're quoting other teachers, let's say, and then wanting these really high price points from people who are desperately seeking and wanting to find truth. And then they're saying, okay, there's a level 1 course that costs, however much. And then when you do level 1, there's level 2, and then there's level 3, and there's level 4.
It's just to keep them in that loop of forever searching. And it's just the money thing. It's just, oh, you're a commodity to me, so I can keep you in these levels. And it's like the law of attraction. There's all these coaches, these laws of attraction coaches. Well, why do they need to be a law of attraction coach if they can just have what they want and give it free?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's, you know, that's the truth, isn't it? If we can all have all what we want, then I wouldn't need to. I get what I want, and I just give it. I tell you how to do it for free.
But when we see people one-to-one, we don't really want to see them more than 3 times. Not that we don't like them.
No, it's
but
just so bad. They just see
we
them
want
at
to
once.
point to them as quickly as possible and clearly. And
Yes.
I don't think we have ever seen anyone 3 times on a coaching basis. We talk to them as a friend basis then.
Yeah.
But they usually do see clearly what we're pointing at, because we want them to see who they are. That's our main thing.
Yes.
That we but we have to listen to them first to
Yes.
see where they're at, to know where to point. So in every session with every different person, it's going to be different, because everyone's at different places with different filters.
Yes.
And that's up to us to listen.
It's just to get them back to the basic, to go back to what are you looking for first, to see what you're looking for, and then to show them where that is and what it is, and then everything, because everything else comes from that. So all these questions about this and that, you've got to go back to the root first, haven't you? The root first, because once you see it for yourself, then you don't have any questions. All the questions are just a waste of time.
And even with our videos, people message us saying, "Oh, we love your videos. You make me feel so happy." We say, "Well, thank you for that, but that's coming from you." It's not to try and get the message over. We're glad they're enjoying us and they're happy, but the happiness is coming from within them.
Yes.
And trying to point them back, even with the videos. That it's them. They've got all the power for everything they want, and that's our goal. Really, is to point them in as sessions and not have more than 3. Really.
Yes,
one's
but you probably
one's the best.
Yes.
We have had ones.
I was going to say,
that's it.
Yeah, and they're brilliant, because it's knowing that, you know, we've clearly pointed, and they've really seen. So that's our main thing, what we do.
And I think times are changing now, because people can get anything quickly. You know, you can order things on Amazon and be here in an hour. So people have the expectation. So I think consciousness is changing, where people are starting to see it really quick. It doesn't take 30, 40, 50 years anymore. You know, because once you have the expect, you always get what you expect. You don't always get what you want, but you'll get what you expect. And if you're expecting to get it, you should get it.
Yes. But I mean, I don't want to laugh, because I don't want to diminish anybody that comes to me and, you know, asks. They'll often ask, you know, is it worth paying, I don't know, $10,000 or dollars or whatever it is to work with this coach to attain enlightenment in 3 months or 6 months or whatever. And you know, I mean, I just try and kind of let them down gently, but I do say, you know, why that long, and why do you need to spend that amount of money? So but it's, I would say that is prevalent, and it's I think it's difficult for people to often navigate, to know who to trust and who to listen to. But one of the key things is that resonance, that feeling, that quality of truth that you get. And we all have that resonance. We can always, you know, identify when somebody's speaking truth and when they're not. But a lot of the problem people have as well, oftentimes, is trusting their own intuition, trusting their own knowing, and leaning into that. So I'm assuming that you work with people on that too, you know, how to kind of recognize and identify what feels right for them, and all of these things.
Because they've been programmed from being young to listen to your mum and dad, listen to the teachers, they know best, listen to your elders. So from being young, you're programmed not to listen to self first, to listen to something out there first.
Teachers,
so it's really pointing back. No, whatever you've learned there, forget it. Point back to self first. Not even us first, self first.
Yes.
And that's the main thing, to get into them time and time again. Self first, go within, not to your programs, by the way, or your mind or the thoughts, but self. That's first. And it's putting that back in that's always been there, and forgetting all the programs and all what we've been taught, that you listen to them. If they've got a white coat on, listen to the doctors, they know best. If they say you've got this disease forever, you've got it forever. I mean, and this comes from a knowing that I was, from the age of 2, said I had severe asthma, severe nervous asthma. I had it till I was in my 40s, told I'd have it forever, and it would be slide on a slide down scale.
It would get worse.
It would get worse and worse. I was hospitalised. I had numerous inhalers, medication, nebulizers, stopped breathing, fully believed into the story, until one day Mark said, do you know, you don't, it's all in your mind, that asthma. And I'm like, you what? Specialists have told me with white coats on, these are people you believe. But he said, when you're out of breath and you're looking for your inhaler, and then your breath and you start having an attack because you can't find your Ventolin inhaler, you find it, and he said, and watch you don't often use it, but your breathing gets better. So with that seed planted then, I was aware, and the next time I did it and I sat down and my breathing went back on its own, I thought, he's right.
Wow.
And with that, it was like someone had pulled something. Different things began to happen, and without me thinking I'll never have this, I just thought at first, well, maybe I won't need to use these inhalers. Maybe I can drop 1 or 2 of them off instead of using so many. But what happened over a period of, say, 12 to 18 months, can't remember because it was over 10 years ago now, that I stopped using all of them all together over time. And literally, when I couldn't walk without puffing, I'd walk anywhere, I'd be like, puff, puff, puff. And I could go up a mountain without any drugs, any inhalers. And then after, like I say, the 12, 18 months, I thought, I don't have asthma anymore. But in the meantime of that journey, I'd stop calling it my asthma. So that would be a big tip that I would tell anyone: stop claiming it as yours. Whatever it is, stop saying it's mine. Because I did stop that.
Unless you want it.
Yeah, unless you want it, but why would you? It's like I stopped calling it my asthma. I mean, and everyone else around it said, oh, it's your asthma, my asthma. And I stopped saying, I started calling it the asthma. And then I just thought, I don't have it. I don't have this. And then that was over 10 years. And anyone asked, no, I don't have that anymore.
The thing is with that is that's exactly the same. I just made you aware of something, and then you saw that it was truth.
Yeah, I had to look
and
for myself.
That's all we try and do. Try and make people aware. Then they look themselves and think, oh, that's the truth.
Yeah, I wouldn't say to anyone, stop taking your inhalers, you've not got it. That was my journey, and I didn't stop taking them straight away. I didn't think, oh, I don't need any of these, bin them.
But once people see the truth, you can't go back because you can't unsee it.
So it was trusting my inner wisdom that says, maybe you don't need that, or maybe you can let that one go. And that journey, then I don't class myself as an asthmatic. Then I had other people's stories that said, oh, you better have them in just in case, because you've had it all your life, mainly your mum and dad, because they're worried. Then I was kind of getting annoyed with them saying, no, I don't have asthma. But then again, I saw through that and said, well, that's their story about me, and that's okay. That's okay too, because it's not my story anymore. That's just their story, and they can have what story they like. It's not the truth, but I don't care. But after I saw that, then they never mentioned it, which was weird. So it's like, even then, it's the doctors, they're outside of you. Your own inner wisdom knows what's best for you.
You're perfect. You've got perfect health. Everyone's born with everything. You're perfect. And it's just the thinking that you're not, that you become that you're not. But you really, there's nothing wrong with anybody. Everyone's perfect.
10 years ago, if anyone said you'll climb a mountain easy peasy without any of your inhalers, I wouldn't believe them. But now it just, it's like I've never even had it. And I think that's the case, that I never really had it anyway, which you just have the belief in the story, and then you experience the story.
But
Yes.
like David Bingham says, you're an effortless, infinite, eternal being, unlimited. So there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you can't be. Even when you leave here, you know, what I saw was that even if I died in that pool, I saw that my awareness would carried on, because it could never stop. So that's who we really are. We are eternal, because nothing dies. And I saw that even, and it was, and it wasn't a big wow, oh my God. It's just that, you know, even if the body had died, it's just, you carry on. That's it.
Yes. Continuum. There's just always this continuum that is never diminished, never changes, never comes and goes, is never altered by anything.
No.
Your beliefs or lack thereof, your religiosity or lack thereof, whatever the story is around any of it, it just doesn't affect infinite beingness. That is always
and it's trusting that. It's trust that inner wisdom. We've been taught to trust so much other people and out there and doctors and nurses and whatever. It's trust that self first. And you won't go wrong when you trust that self. You just won't go wrong.
Yes. And when we say self here, we're speaking about the higher self, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the inner self.
Yes.
Or again, it's words, you see.
Yeah.
So,
it's hard, but
it's not the character with the programs and the mind.
We come from the formless, and then as soon as we come into the form, we forget that we're formless, because we've got all this going on and we think we're that. And we're not.
And you feel it different. It feels different. When you feel that inner self, that inner knowing, it won't guide you to anything that feels scary. You won't feel scared. You won't feel the fear. You won't go, oh, I'm brave or anything. It's none of that. It's just a balanced knowing feeling. That's the trusting.
But just if people are if they got one thing from this, it was like if you're having fearful thinking and then you just become aware and quiet your mind and just all of a sudden, or even if you're thinking of something awful and you take your attention off that, your awareness off that, and put your awareness on something nice, automatically you feel better. And if that's not the proof, I mean, what else? That's the evidence that when you take your mind on something that's not really good and put it onto something that's good, then all of a sudden you feel better. Because what you know, the thing is, awareness doesn't need a thought to exist, but a thought can't exist without awareness.
Yes.
So where does a thought go when where do we go when the thought goes? We don't disappear. But people think that they are.
And the emotions are the same.
Emotions, thoughts, you know.
It needs awareness.
It all needs awareness to exist. But awareness exists on its own.
Yes, it's always here. Prior to any movement of thought or feeling or conditioning or whatever is coming and going. And you know, I love the way Master Yogis put it, because the way they point people to look at everything in their life in terms of the constancy of it. You know, does it change? Is this subject to change? Is this subject to change? And of course, thoughts are subject to change. Your body's thought, you know, experiences, you know, whatever you're naming is subject to change. And the only thing so in a way you're kind of seeing all of that and then trying to discover that which never changes. And the only thing that never changes is awareness. But there has to be this recognition, I guess, that awareness has to become aware of itself in order to see that, right? And and then you do see that the ever changing, but there's this unchanging that sees the ever changing, is the way I would put it. And that is the truth of who we are. You know? That is the truth.
The changing and the changeless.
Yes.
We're the changeless.
Yes. So I mean, this is the gift of self-recognition and the gift of what you're offering in terms of the people that you work with. And, you know, and I think too, what happens is when people come into contact with those who have seen this and live from this space, then there's it's almost like a contagion, I suppose. So I don't know, you put it right.
No, it's right.
It's like an energy, because we're, even though we're miles away from each other in another country and here, we can feel that energy because we're not separate. Everything tells us there's separation here, but there isn't.
There isn't.
And that's your evidence, because you can feel that. And then that elevates people. If you're up here and people just come up to that level without them even trying. It's effortless.
Yes.
And it's pointing to that when they say, oh, I feel light and I feel elevated. That's it. That's what we're pointing. This is it.
That's it. That's
your natural state.
It's that's your natural state. There's nothing to learn, because you were it.
Fantastic. I love it. It's really great. But I can't believe I could talk to you for hours, hours and hours and hours. But maybe we need to just close this episode off. But before, for today anyway. But before we go, I'd love for you to just let folks know where they can find you and how they can reach you if they want to book a one-on-one session or a group session.
Well, it's on our email, which is newutoday@outlook.com. So we could probably put it down in there, and we're on YouTube as well, under New You Today. And that's how they just send us an email if they want to connect or message us through YouTube. For either Zoom meetings, or if they live near us, we'll go and see them.
We don't really push ourselves. It's just like, you know,
effortless.
You know, what turns up.
Yeah. We just know the people who turn up are ready for us.
Yeah, and they resonated with us. So, you know, and they know where we're coming from, and we sort of know where they're coming from.
Yeah, because we like to just have fun and joke, because we know this isn't a serious game.
No.
It's just here to have fun.
Yeah.
And
I actually put some aftershave on today for you.
That's nice. I thought I could smell something nice.
Yeah, but that's it. The main thing what I like to tell people is don't claim anything as mine if you don't want it. Like any kind of illness, doesn't matter how many years you've said, like with the asthma, don't claim it as yours if you don't want it.
I think as well, because once people see this for themselves, then they realise how powerful they are. How powerful we all are. Yeah. Because we're that powerful that we can even hide the fact that we're so powerful.
Yes. And we did it really well.
Yeah.
We do it so well. We hypnotise ourselves into thinking we're limited. Yeah. And we have to go off in search of enlightenment. And we keep telling ourselves we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And we really convince ourselves that it's just so hard and it's going to take lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's just
and when you see it, it's just so funny.
And when it makes sense to them and they say, "Well, stop looking," but it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's the searching. It just keeps perpetually in
the opposite way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that was certainly true for me. I mean, I was an ardent seeker for years and years and years, and then one day I actually just got sick of the whole bloody, seeking game. And I realized, I had this epiphany, and I realized, oh my God, seeking is the obstacle. Yeah. And then I just dropped everything, and then I just sought.
Exactly. That's it. Because there's nothing to search for. That's it.
Yeah.
So when you give up the search, you're done.
Yeah. You're done. Yeah, it's hilarious. But anyway, I will certainly. I'll have all your details in the show notes, and all the places people can find you and reach out, book a session, and all of those good things. So I just want to take a moment to thank you both, Collette and Mark, for joining me today. It's just been so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I would love to invite you back. I think it'd be fantastic to continue this conversation and just have some fun. and laugh at the absurdity of it all. That's the correct
Yeah,
word.
that's the word. That's the word.
Absurdity. That's the one. All right. Very good. Okay. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us on Talking True. If this content has value, then please share. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. I really appreciate that. So that's all from us today. Take it easy, be well, and see you soon. Bye. Bye. Bye.